Hey guys, welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are taking a look at a unique and very rare arcade racing game by the name of Racing Groovy Versus that was developed and published by Sammy Entertainment and was released on the PlayStation in Japan only back in 1997. This is an arcade style racing game that is very reflective of games that were also released on the PlayStation during that time. Very similar to likes of Ridge Racer and other very popular arcade racers at that time. The game primarily focuses around arcade elements. The whole structure around the game is very reflective of the first Ridge Racer game, as you do have access to quite a number of cars, each with their own unique handling elements. A lot of the visuals and aesthetics of the game, even down to the menus and how things are presented, are very similar to Ridge Racer. It's almost very like a Ridge Racer style clone in terms of the elements, as I mentioned, with the cars. But not only that, you do have access to a total of 3 tracks in the game, all with different variations, styles and difficulties, which was common practice for a lot of arcade games back during the 90s, and especially more so on early racing games that were released on consoles at that time also. The game itself is very fast paced and frantic, very like the Ridge Racer games. It uses a lot of very similar visual style elements with unique style environments. The tracks range from the likes of jungle style environments to even mountain style areas and villages, all with their own unique challenges, twists and turns to overcome. And like Ridge Racer before it, it also focuses a lot on even drift style mechanics. Although the drift mechanics, from having played the game, they are good to a certain degree, but it's not as refined as that you've seen in the Ridge Racer games. It definitely takes a lot more patience and skill to be able to master the controls on each of the vehicles. And with each of the vehicles in mention, a lot of them do have their own unique quirks and characteristics, to a point that some are easier to use throughout the game than others. Again, very similar to similar cars that you would have been very familiar with had you played the first 2 Ridge Racer games. You can definitely see where this game got its influence from. Now, from having played it myself, is it as good as Ridge Racer? In my opinion, it wouldn't be as good as Ridge Racer. It has enough of its own characteristics to put its own stamp. It is quirky, it is very unique, it has its own style, even though it is very similar to games as I mentioned, but it has its own vibe to it, which is quite cool. It is fast paced, it is frantic, and it is fun to play. But the one thing to note, as with a lot of these games, is the level of difficulty is tough. It starts off okay at the start, but as you go through the game, depending even on the cars that you choose, a lot of it has a massive influence on how races will actually go. Now, the more you play the game, gradually it does get easier, but I found from having played it compared to the Ridge Racer games, it is very difficult to win races, and you won't win them as often because the computer AI opponents are that far ahead of you that when you do catch up with them, the race is almost over and you almost have to do a complete perfect race without making very little mistakes, like crashing into other cars or even walls or other environments that slow you down. You have to make sure that you don't do that as much to really have a good chance of winning a race. So it can definitely put a lot of pressure on you. But that's not to say that the game isn't fun. The game is definitely a lot of fun. And for me personally, I do love these style of racing games because they're very good at what they do, and they offer up enough to actually keep you coming back for more. But the main thing about these games is that they offer fun in small doses, because if you want something to play that is short and play it in quick bursts, these type of games really are perfect to play if you have only a little amount of time, or if you don't have much time to play these type of games. They're ideal just to play for a quick fix. If you have 5, 10, 15 minutes to spare, you can jump into them real quick and have a blast with them. Each of the levels in question also do have different dynamics where they do get more difficult from each one that you do play through. The tracks do gradually get narrower in certain sections where it's harder to traverse the terrain and the roads involved, so you really do have to have your wits about you and be aware of your surroundings as you're driving through the levels to get in the maximum speed, to make sure that you get the most out of each race so that you can maintain your position throughout. There is enough here for fans of this type of genre to keep you coming back for more, and if you're looking for something that reminds you of those old school classic arcade racers, and you're looking for something that is a little bit different, that's quite obscure and very rare and hard to find, and most people don't really know about it, Racing Groovy Versus will be worth a look into. Although it's not without its quirks, but it definitely will offer enough of a challenge, and it will definitely give you that nostalgia hit that you'll be looking for if you want to play something that is similar to the likes of the Ridge Racer games. So in my opinion, it is worth checking out, so I highly recommend that you do look into it, as it is quite rare. Not many people know about it, and it is a hard game to find when looking for it online, and I'd imagine that before long the prices of the game will start to go up in value, as with a lot of these games, because they are becoming more obscure and more rare to find as time goes on. So now may be a good time to hunt a copy down if you can get your hands on it. And again, I'd love to know your thoughts on this game if you have played it yourself, and if so, what do you think of it? Did you enjoy it, or did you find it quite difficult to master? Be sure to share it down in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this video and you'd like to see similar style content where I do provide reviews and other gameplay videos of similar arcade racers that were released on the PlayStation back in the day, where I share my thoughts and experiences with everyone, then make sure to leave a like on the video, or again, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to be updated when those videos are released. And also be sure to check out some of the other videos on the channel where I do provide reviews and gameplay videos of similar type of games that were released on the system back in the day. So as always, make sure to keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and keep those gaming memories alive.